Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to address a mindset that has perplexed me for many years, namely the mindset of delighting in mystery for mystery's sake. And one can encounter this mindset in many forms. A very commonplace instance of it would be the dismay that some people show when you explain to them how a particular magic trick works. As if you reveal how the magician did it, you take the magic out of it. You take the enjoyment out of it. I've always found that very strange. A more philosophical version of that mindset can be found in the theological frameworks of many religions. I have very frequently heard religious advocates say, well, one of the reasons why this religion or that religion is so appealing to me is because of all the mystery that it delves into. And very often, these religions' frameworks are designed in such a way as to get the believers to embrace contradictory and absurd statements that logically can never make sense. A theory such as the Trinity, with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit being at the same time discrete entities and also the same entity. There is no way to unravel this mystery or resolve it in logical terms. But many believers in this concept have told me that that's not the point. The point is to have the mystery, and to admire the mystery, and to delight in it. So this is, I believe, a very erroneous mindset, and a mindset that can have extremely adverse consequences, as I will later discuss. But first, the idea that by solving a mystery, by explaining the workings of something, be it something as mundane as a magic trick, or something as profound as, for instance, a law of physics, or the functioning of a biological organism, or the origins of a biological organism, for instance, through evolution, or, as is increasingly becoming possible, the wholesale engineering of a biological organism from non-living components. Something, for instance, that Craig Venter and his team achieved in 2010 when they synthesized the first artificial life form entirely from scratch. Starting with non-life, they created life. And in many ways, that solved a lot of mysteries. That answered a lot of questions about what it really takes for life to come about. And it also definitively shattered the theory of vitalism for anybody who still needed debunking of that theory. The view that there is some kind of insurmountable barrier between life and non-life, and that life cannot arise out of non-life, is no longer a tenable view by any stretch of the imagination. So these mysteries have been solved in spectacular ways. We now know so much more about the workings of the universe, about the workings of our own bodies, about natural laws, than we ever have in human history. And of course, there is so much further to go. We are still, I believe, in a state of barbarism with respect to what could be, and with respect to all the tremendous problems that we face because of all of the immense mysteries still around us. So I appreciate any solution, any answer that we can get. But moreover, it's quite false to suggest that the awe and the wonder gets taken out of something if its workings are explained, and if the mysteries surrounding it are solved. Quite the contrary. arriving at the solution and understanding the solution, understanding how a particular system really functions, that in itself, to a rational mind, is inspiring. And it does inspire awe and wonder. Now, this is not to say that the workings of everything are quite admirable. For instance, the biology of certain parasites may well be disgusting. Nonetheless, solutions, even solutions that reveal a mechanism that is aesthetically repugnant, bring about improvements in human life. If, for instance, you solve some kind of mystery about how a parasite lives and how it preys on its host, what kinds of diseases it can carry, what kinds of damage it can do, these factual bits of knowledge also facilitate courses of action that would not have been possible otherwise. The more you know about how this parasite works, the better you're able to deal with it, the better you are able to combat it, the better you are able to eradicate it, if that is the intention. So, this kind of functional knowledge, I believe, should also be inspiring because of the consequences that it brings about, the vast potential that it has to improve human life. On the other hand, I don't see any awe or wonder or beauty in ignorance. And really, mystery is a fancy word for ignorance. It is through a lack of knowing how the world really operates, what natural laws there are, that this idea of mystery arises. Essentially, there is what we know, and then there's mystery, what we don't know. And I would think any rational human being would try to expand the sphere of what we know and shrink the sphere of mystery. Not so for individuals of some persuasions, unfortunately. And there is a danger to that. The danger to that is quite literally that what we don't know can hurt us, and can hurt us badly. Consider the massive ignorance during the majority of human history that existed with regard to questions like what causes disease? What causes something like the bubonic plague? What causes something like smallpox? In the absence of genuine scientific knowledge about that, what arises is mystery, and human beings, even if they claim that they embrace mystery, naturally try to find some kind of explanation that their minds can latch onto. And so, mystery is quite frequently accompanied by superstition. Superstition like, oh, it's the Jews poisoning our wells that bring about the bubonic plague. Or it's those witches casting curses on our community. Or the gods are angry. We need to make animal sacrifices or human sacrifices to appease them. This is the consequence of ignorance. This is the consequence of, on the one hand, embracing mystery, not knowing, on the other hand, being of an inescapable mental disposition that I believe characterizes all human beings, of wanting to have some kind of explanation, some kind of answer, something that could enable one to construct a mental framework of how reality works. There is no escaping the desire to construct such a mental framework. The only choice that people have is what kind of framework they will embrace. Will it be an informed framework, or will it be a framework of superstition and ignorance? If you don't want a framework of superstition and ignorance, then mystery is something to be rolled back. Mystery is something to be diminished, eliminated, if possible, within a particular sphere of questioning or sphere of endeavor. Use reason, use logic, use observation. Make inferences about the world, make logical deductions, gather evidence, and make sure that your theories are consistent with the evidence and consistent with everything else you know. If there is a contradiction in your view of the world, then some part of it must be mistaken. It could be that much of it is mistaken, but at least something is. Delve deeply and attempt to resolve the contradiction, and you will find yourself more knowledgeable as a result. Not only that, but a rational approach to the world does reveal much of beauty, and also not just what can be found that is of beauty, but what you can create using reason and your mind applied in action toward progress and the improvement of the human condition. And if there's anything wonderful or awe-inspiring in this reality, it is that human ability to bring about change for the better. Thank you.